I won't lie, guys, I was rooting for this one. The Crow is one of those rare comic titles that managed to leave its mark on the mainstream without being absorbed by the big two. And the original 1994 film is this beautifully tragic mixture of filmmaking, mood, music, and the brilliant performance from the late Brandon Lee. If it had come out at any other time, it wouldn't have landed as well with audiences, and Lee's tragic passing immortalized the project as a staple of 90s film canon. What followed were 3 dreadful sequels and a long-forgotten season of Canadian television, each of which tried and failed to recapture the magic director Alex Proyas found. This new reboot had become something of a running joke in Hollywood. It was originally announced all the way back in 2008, only to be stuck in a seemingly endless development hell. Directors came and went, all of these guys were booked as the lead at some point, and the actual filming with director Rupert Sanders at the helm and Bill Skarsgård as Eric Draven didn't start until 2022. But while every other sequel was accused of just ripping off the original, this marks the first time a film has tried to retell James O'Barr's original comic run ever since Lee wore the face paint. Unfortunately, it fails to embody the spirit of either and winds up being a 2-hour bore with shockingly little to bring to the table. Let's knock out the positives first, since there aren't many. While the film is a retelling of the Eric Draven story, it doesn't just copy the 94 version beat for beat. This time around, they actually give Shelley a personality and a bit of a character arc, something not even the comic attempted. And while it was mostly in the trailers, the sequence of Eric tearing his way through the opera house was the one time the film lived up to the promise of its pitch. Yes, even my positive notes need qualifiers on this one. The story sees Shelley on the run from Danny Huston's powerful crime boss, Vincent Rogue. She deliberately gets arrested to avoid his hitmen and winds up in a rehab facility with Eric. The two hit it off despite his hilariously stupid tattoos, escape the facility, and live it up as young lovers for a while before Rogue's men find and kill them both. A supernatural force then revives Eric and offers him a chance to avenge their deaths, granting him the ability to immediately heal from any injury. And you can see why Hollywood keeps trying to take a crack at this. Here's this enigmatic spirit of vengeance that tears through evil men. A slasher movie where you're rooting for the killer. Or to use a more modern example, what if John Wick had Wolverine's healing factor? But the film takes its sweet time getting around to that. The murders don't happen until we're a fourth of the way in. Skarsgård has a couple of false starts before actually getting around to the whole revenge tour. His version of Eric isn't allowed to show any of the charisma or dark humor the comic or Lee's version had.
I heard a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. What are you talking about? You heard me rapping, right? Mr. Gideon. Who? You're not paying attention.
The aforementioned opera sequence is the only time the film delivers on the action it promised. Every other fight is mostly awkward stumbling, with the camera being laser focused on each injury Eric endures. They were once again too chicken to let Eric have the talking crow as a sidekick. Come to think of it, they dumped Sergeant Albrecht and Sarah too, so there's virtually no supporting cast to this thing. They still do the dumb subplot of he's doubting himself, so he's losing his powers for a bit, and the final kill is incredibly underwhelming. Huston is clearly stealing notes from Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk with his performance, and I actually perked up when it was revealed he also found a way to escape death and has some supernatural abilities, but it doesn't wind up mattering in the end. Oh, and we wrap things up with a clumsy lurch towards making this into a franchise, but I can't imagine that happening. Lionsgate apparently held the review embargo all the way up until the last possible minute for this thing, which is a huge warning sign for having zero confidence in a movie. I want to believe there can be another good adaptation of The Crow, but this ain't it. Skip it and toss this into the trash heap right alongside all those terrible Crow sequels. Thanks for watching.